Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. I'm a dating and relationship expert specializing in helping you get your ex back. And welcome back, No Contact Army. Have you been using our app Silencio to help you stay no contact? If you haven't and you want to download it, it's free. The link is below this video. And if you too would like to join the No Contact Army, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and you're in. And to read the No Contact Army manual, go to nocontactsecrets.com, where you can download 2 free chapters before purchasing the book. Today, I want to talk about which texts from your ex you should respond to. I have another video about responding to texts, and most of that video, which is over 20 minutes, gives you examples of texts you shouldn't respond to. And I decided that I should do one about what you should respond to, because a video I did recently about always ignore this text. The title is about always ignore this text. And of course, that is the first text, unless there is something significant said, which is the exception that I mentioned in that video. So here I am making the video that I promised. And people get confused about which texts to respond to, what's significant. So I'm going to answer that question. Hopefully things will be clearer by the end of this video. If not, I do have a solution for you. So I actually have a text that someone sent, that an ex sent to someone, and I posted it in my community tab. And by the way, if you haven't checked out my community tab on YouTube, you really should, because since I only post a video once a week, the only other way for me to stay in contact with the No Contact Army is to post quotes and questions, etc. in the community tab. And I do that almost every day, and we have a nice little discussion over there. So be sure to check that out. And so I posted this text from an ex, and I said, this is an example of something that's significant. And it was interesting to see the responses. And in fact, someone responded with a text that she got that she wasn't sure if it was significant. So I'm going to actually compare the 2 texts and see why one is a text that you should respond to and one isn't. Okay? All right. So the first text is it okay if I call you later? If you're busy, I understand. I just really want to hear your voice. I've been missing you so much recently. I hope all is well. That is a text you should respond to, and I'll explain why in a minute. Now, here's another text that comes across as significant, but I'll explain in a minute why it's not. And this text says, I've been thinking about you. Hope you're doing good. Miss our van trips and the fun we had. So that sounds significant, and I can understand why you would be confused, but there is a difference between the 2 texts. So let's look at the first one. Is it okay if I call you later? So he's being humble. He's being vulnerable. He's putting himself out there for rejection, because she may say no or not respond at all. If you're busy, I understand. He's being understanding. Okay. He's being understanding that she may not want to talk to him. I really want to hear your voice. I've been missing you so much. So again, he's being vulnerable, expressing his feelings. Hope all is well. So he's, being nice at the end. The other one, he's not being vulnerable, and he's more centered on himself. I've been thinking about you. Okay, what? Yeah, you've been thinking about me, and what have you been thinking? You could have been thinking a million things. You could have been thinking, thank God I broke up with her. Hope you're doing good. I mean, anybody can say, hope you're doing good. An acquaintance can say, hope you're doing good. An enemy can say, hope you're doing good. Meanwhile, they hope you're not. So that doesn't mean anything. Miss our van trips and the fun we had. So he didn't say, I miss you. Oh, you miss the van trips and the fun. You don't miss me. You don't miss the closeness. You don't miss the relationship. You miss the van trips. So you see how those are 2 completely different texts? And even someone saying that they missed you doesn't necessarily mean you need to respond. And I made a whole video on what to respond if someone says, I miss you. And often people don't want to be vulnerable, and that's what he's doing here. There's no vulnerability here. There's no way that he can be rejected. He's not asking, oh, can I call you, or I miss your voice. And so he mentions missing the van trips. I've had people tell me that their exes said, oh, I miss the dog. I miss the cat. Well, what about me? You miss the dog, but not me. So that's someone not wanting to be vulnerable, not wanting to be humble, and therefore it's not a text you should respond to. And so someone responded to my response because I told the person that wrote the second text or received the second text that she should not respond to that, even though she was freaking out and thinking that she should. And he said, no disrespect to Lucia because I'm a big fan, but you should have responded, in my opinion, maybe 6 to 8 hours later. Listen, 6 to 8 hours is not going to make a difference. Okay, if you want to make a statement by waiting to respond, you wait 2 days, you wait a week, you wait 2 weeks. 6 to 8 hours is nothing. It's not always about if he's interested, he'll contact you again. Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is. It's interest level. He disrespected you by breaking up. Not necessarily. It's not a disrespect if someone breaks up with you. If they don't want to be with you anymore, then it is what it is. They don't want to be with you anymore. It doesn't mean they disrespect you unless they broke up in a way that was disrespectful. But he also sent what I believe is a significant message. And no, it's not, because I've just explained why it's not. Remember, not everyone is going to spill their guts on the first text. I've never said that they're going to, and never said that they should. But they have to be humble and be willing to be vulnerable. And that did not exist in the second text. I think this guy doesn't want to be humble and vulnerable. So he's like, yeah, that text is acceptable. No, it's not. And he goes, honestly, if I made a mistake and left my girlfriend, and said what he said in that text and she ignored it, that's a sign of disrespect. No, it's not. Boy, this guy, I bet you this guy gets disrespected easily, or he feels that he's being disrespected easily. If you broke up with someone and you don't send a significant text and they don't respond, it's not disrespectful. It's because they're either no longer interested or they're waiting for you to put forth more effort, okay? So stop taking everything as a sign of disrespect. And he goes on to say, and he can also take it as a sign that you've moved on. Well, if that's what he wants to look at it as, fine. But how about maybe she just doesn't want to answer because she's waiting for something more? Doesn't mean that she's moved on. That's your perception. That's the filter through which you look at things. And then he finishes with, if he's an alpha male, and I'm assuming this guy is an alpha male, or he thinks he is. If he's an alpha male, you already know he won't be double texting. Let me tell you something about double texting. It's not about alpha and beta, okay? It's about attachment style and interest level. So I don't care if you are the alphaest of alphas, if that's even an expression, all right? If you have an anxious attachment style and you have a 90% attraction level, interest level, you're double texting, okay? So it's not about being alpha. So I'm going to read a few more responses to the first text, which I said was significant, just to show you what people's views are. And someone said, being vulnerable absolutely show they deserve a response. Still need to earn it, though. Of course, you respond, but they still need to earn their way back in your life. That's why I made the video about the 6 questions to ask your ex if they want to get back together. Someone else said, my response would be block. Why? You are being too harsh, and y'all got to chill with the blocking. You go blocking for no reason. I mean, he's being vulnerable, and you're going to block him? What's that going to do? The next comment says, this is definitely something I would consider as a significant message, but what about it being at nighttime? Because the text was sent at 11:30 at night. Wouldn't it just mean he wants his fix, especially since it's almost midnight? Gives me red flags. Listen, a lot of times people do hear from their exes at nighttime because in the daytime they can keep busy, they got work and things going on, but then at night their mind starts to wander and they start thinking about the breakup and the ex, and they contact them. So no, I don't see it as a red flag, the fact that he wrote at night. Now, a guy wrote, bet she was turned off by that beta message. So listen, if this was a relationship, okay, or the beginning of a relationship, and they sent that question, it might be considered a beta message, especially the fact that he asked for permission to call. He could have just said, I want to call you later. I want to talk to you later. Are you available? That would have been a better way to put it. That wouldn't be as beta. However, when you've broken up with someone and you want them back, you're going to have to be what you call beta. I call it being humble and vulnerable, but that's what women want. And if you're not willing to do that, then your ex may not respond, especially if they are in the no contact army. And in fact, a female responded and said, it's not beta to show vulnerability and express your feelings. That's what grown men do, but boys don't because they're insecure and afraid. Exactly. At some point, if you want someone, you're just going to have to express your feelings and be real and be honest. If you want to call it being beta, go ahead. I call it being an adult and being real. Someone else said, still wouldn't answer. I need to know his intentions before I text him back. Well, how are you going to find out his intentions if you don't text back? Right? And then one final comment said, this is not good enough. You need to make them suffer at least with 4 more nice texts and think about it. This is too harsh. So I don't know what happened. And this was a female, I believe, what happened to her, but no one's going to send 4 significant texts. Okay, that's not happening. Very rarely, let's put it that way. Usually they'll send 2 at the most. And if you don't respond after that, then come on, at some point they're going to be like, okay, it's over. But here's the bottom line. In terms of understanding what's a significant text and what isn't, what you should respond to and what you shouldn't respond to, it's not something that can be taught. That can be taught. As I've said, the text needs to show humility and vulnerability, meaning they're putting their feelings out there, even though they don't know if you'll respond or not. So it's not something that can be taught. It's a feeling. Because an ex can say a million things. So you either understand if it's significant for you or it's not. At the end of the day, you have to go with your gut. And you make the decision out of a feeling that you have, not from your anxiety or your neediness. Is the text that you get from your ex enough for you, given the circumstances of the breakup? Because what may be a significant text for you for one breakup may not be enough for another. So if you feel you need more, then don't respond. And if they are interested and want to get back together, their interest level and their anxiety will lead them to try again. It may not be the next day or the next week. They'll probably wait at least 2 weeks, hoping that you'll respond. And then when they don't hear from you, they'll try again. So you need to make that decision about whether the message is significant enough for you, given the circumstances of the break. However, what I'm willing to do is, if you want to post below the messages you've received, if you wonder if they are significant or not, I'll respond and let you know. But keep in mind, I'm simply going by the message. I don't know the circumstances of the breakup. So if you want a more thorough answer, then you can get coaching from me, and you can email me at theartoflove.net. The direct link is below. It's below every single video, and we'll send you the rates. Okay? So if you get a message, you're not sure if it's significant, go ahead and post it below and wait for me to respond. You don't need to respond right away. Okay? So cool your jets, post your message, and I'll let you know whether I think you should respond or not. And if this video has been helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're listening to this as a podcast, please rate and review. And finally, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.